So again, I just want to remind you that we are still reviewing for the final. There are 26 questions on the final. We're working on question number 11 today. This is another word problem. Now, the reason why I put over here requires answer. Oops, requires answer. That is not part of the question. I just put it there because I wanted you to know so far whenever we had a word problem, all you had to do was set up the equation, right? But over here, we actually have to get to the answer. This is again a multiple choice question. However, this time you have to select the correct answer. And so we already know that Miss Choi didn't change anything except for what? The numbers. So all these numbers are different on the actual test, okay? But Miss Choi, everything else is exactly the same, okay? So please make sure you copy this, right? And then once you are done copying this, we're gonna go ahead and set it up and solve it, okay? So let's see. Jim wants to run 1,610 miles this year. Okay. And then he plans to run at least 8 miles per day. You know what that tells me? In one day, he's going to run 8 miles. But if it's 2 days, he's going to run 16 miles. In 3 days, he's going to run 24 miles, right? So basically that means we have to go 8 times the number of days, okay? 8 times the number of days in order for you to find out how many miles he ran. But how much does he want to run? He wants to run 1,610 miles this year, okay? So then we got to figure out how many days it's going to take him to run 1,610 miles. But, oh wow, Jim has already run how many miles here? 650 miles. So he already has 650 miles. And on top of that, he's going to run 8 miles per day. Okay? And his goal is to run 1,610 miles. Now, if you look over here, it says he's going to run at least 8 miles a day. That means sometimes he could run 8 miles, sometimes he could run 9 miles. Sometimes he could even run 12 miles a day. Wow, Miss Choi can run like maximum 1 mile a day. But anyhow, so there you go. But see, it says, the question says, what is the maximum number of days that will take him to run the remaining miles? So what that means is we're just going to set up the equation for 8D, because the minimum number of miles he's going to run per day is going to be 8 miles. And so that will give me the maximum number of days he needs to run. Okay? So I know it sounds like mumbo jumbo, but let me go ahead and take it to a new page. 650 plus 8D, and that equals what? That equals 1610, okay? And so now from here, all we have to do is solve the equation and find out what D is equal to. Okay, so there you go. What is the first thing we have to do? Good job. I really love this class. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 650 from both sides. So again, I put a little star there and I said requires answer because you have to actually solve it. Unlike all the other questions where the question says just select the correct equation, for this one, you got to get the answer. So when you subtract 650, what would you get? 8D is equal to, 0, 11, what? 900. Okay, thank you. And now I still want to leave the D by itself, so what do you think I should do next? Yes, I have to divide both sides by 8. Okay? So 8 divided by 8 is 1. 1 times D is just D. You don't put 1D, right? It's just D. And what is 960 divided by 8? Silly boy, that's going to be 120. Okay? So how many days does he have to run in order to hit his goal of 1,610? 120. What Ms. Choi does not like about this test question is, you know how if this was my test, you gotta give me the answer in a full sentence, because people will usually talk to you in English and you will give them an answer in English. They wouldn't just say 120, huh? But on this test, You only have one choice, okay? Your answer is just going to be 120, and that's it. Okay? So keep in mind that your test items are all multiple choice. Okay? So you have to select just the correct answer, and there are no sentences involved. Okay? Alright. So we're good. Can we move on?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay, so now what I want you to do is go ahead and copy Adet Herrera's question. Adet's question is different from question number 11, but Adet's question will help you solve one of the other word problems. Because if you remember, we had questions all the way from number 1 through 8 that were word problems where you just have to write the equation. That's why I put a little dot over here, and I said you just need to put an equation only. Okay? Please make sure that you look at the name of the person who created the equation and make sure you thank her. I'm very proud of you whenever I can use one of your questions. It makes me really proud as a teacher. Okay? And in the future, your questions that you created for me will be a future question for my Math 1 students. Okay? So, let's go ahead and finish copying this, and then I want you to give me the equation. Ready? Go. So I want to first go ahead and give you some time so you can go ahead and copy the question down, okay? Ready? Go. Okay, so now we're going to work on this question over here. Hush, babies. Okay. And so what I really like about this question over here, question number 12, is that they give you the question and they start working on it for you. Okay? And all you have to do is what? Identify the wrong steps. Now, on the test question itself, it says identify the very first wrong step. I changed the question to say identify all the wrong steps. Okay? Because this is exactly what happens when Ms. Choi grades your paper. Okay? So I wanted you to know how I grade, right? Because it's exactly the same thing. So first of all, when you have a question like this, what is the first thing you gotta do? What is the first step when you have a question like that? Yes, you have to distribute. So you have to go 3 times 5x and 3 times 9, which gives you what? 15x and 27, right? So that's correct. And what do we do to the numbers over here? There's nothing we need to do, so we're just going to keep it the same, 20x minus 13. So we already know that step 1 is correct. All right? Now, let's move on to step 2. Now, let's move on to step 2. Step 2 says 35x. Okay, let me write this bigger. Step 1 is 15x plus 27, and that equals 20x minus 13. So then, remember what Ms. Choi talked about? Ms. Choi lives where? On top of the equal sign, I look to the right, and I look to the left, and I see x's everywhere. And that really gets Ms. Choi confused, right? So what did I say? We need to make sure that x's are only on one side of the equal sign. So what do we have to do? We have to eliminate the small guy, okay? So then let's take a look. We have 15x and we have 20x. Which one is the small guy, the 15 or the 20? Ready? Go. Which one's the small guy, the 15x or the 20x? Ready? Go. The 15x, okay? So then what we have to do is we have to subtract x from both sides. Okay guys, come on, let's focus. So let's go ahead and subtract 15x from both sides. And so now that will give me 27 is equal to 5x minus 13. So is that what you got right there? No. Right? Okay. So then we already know that step 2 is the correct answer. Okay? However, it says identify all the wrong steps. So we have to keep going. We have to keep going, right? So then we're just going to go ahead and erase it. Hush, guys. Hush, hush. Don't make me come in here. Okay. So then now, what we're going to do is, we're just going to go from here. Okay, step 2 says what? 35x plus 27 is equal to negative 13. If I were to continue on from here, what was I supposed to do next? Yeah, we're going to subtract 27 from both sides. So we have 35x is equal to negative 40. So now we have to divide both sides by 35. 35 divided by 35 is 1. So 1 times x is just x. And that equals negative 40 over 35. And we can divide the top and the bottom by what number, guys? 5. So that's going to be negative 8 over 7. So our answer is supposed to be negative 8 over 7. What does it say over here? Positive 8 over 7. So what are your answers, guys? Your answer is step 2 and step 4. Now, really, once you find out that step 2 is wrong, you don't have to look any further because your answer is going to be wrong anyway, right? But this is how Mr. grades, right? If I see that you made one mistake, I just keep going from there. Okay? So now, guys, and now what I want you to do is I want you to go ahead and copy this question right here. Okay? And I want you to go ahead and start from the beginning just like this, okay? I want you to solve it and go all the way to the answer, but then I want you to go ahead and look at your neighbor's work because chances of your neighbor missing is, kind of big, right? So you look at your neighbor's work and then try and fix that so that way you can get practice for this question. When you can find the wrong step, that will be the correct answer. And that's what we're going to be doing until the end of the period. Okay? Ready? Go.